Hey everyone, welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome for the first time. Consider subscribing if you're into makeup. Today, I want to talk about my June beauty favorites, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's first start with foundation. So, I've really been loving the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. Mine is in the shade Light Medium 10. That is what I'm currently wearing on my skin today. I like it because it has a thin, almost watery texture that I actually didn't think I was gonna like when I first tried this, but that on my skin translates into a light but buildable coverage. And when I first tried this, I actually didn't think I was gonna like it because the coverage was so light. But I find that as I add additional makeup, my concealer, all the powders, bronzers, blush, all that kind of stuff, it can quickly add up to look heavy fast. And that's always something I've run into with my makeup is I'll like a really full coverage foundation, but then once everything's piled on, it will look like a lot, more than I had intended it to. So it's refreshing to start with a lighter canvas, which is what I feel like this does, and it wears really, really well. It has like a demi-matte finish, I would say, throughout the day. So you can selectively add shine or highlight as you want to, but it's not so matte that you have to worry about it getting cakey or just looking and feeling too heavy throughout the day. So I really like that. And I've been using it for a couple months at this point, but specifically in the month of June, I for the first time tried the Beauty Say What Weightless Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation, and I will link to the video where I do a little mini review of this. But what I found is that it is actually really similar in texture and coverage to the Pat McGrath foundation. I would say that the has a little bit more coverage. It's maybe even a little bit more buildable, so I do find that sometimes I can overdo it here, but it has that similar thin, watery texture, which I think makes it really great for working in lots of light layers and really customizing the coverage, the build that you get out of this foundation. So I've really been liking these, and the is less expensive than the Pat McGrath. It's not drugstore price range by any means, but it's $20 or $30 cheaper than the Pat McGrath. So you can have a similar experience even if the Pat is out of your budget. The concealer I've really been liking is also new to me for the month. It's the Sidoni Concealing Cream, and mine is in the shade HC101. This I also talked about along with another product from Sidoni I'll talk about next. Talked about in a video I did reviewing them, and I like this because it's nice and hydrating. It reminds me of the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye texture, but is a little, actually a lot of bit easier to blend in. It's just thinner, but still that full coverage and hydrating, and so I find it keeps my fine lines like plumped and filled in, because sometimes if I use a concealer that's too dry in that area, it's not flattering. So this keeps it hydrated, but because it is relatively hydrating, I do find that I need to set it with a powder, which is very rare for me. I am not big on setting powders because I find that they can soak up that moisture and make, my fine lines look crepey in my under eye area. Just make makeup look a little bit too heavy, too noticeable in that area. But not with this. With this, I find I do need to set it, and the powder that I do set it with is another one from Sidoni, and it's their highlighter palette. This is the lightest one, and I use a combination of the two powders they have up top here. One has a yellow undertone and one has more of a pinky / kind of neutral undertone. I just mix both of these together and pat that in my under eye to set that, and then because it has bronzer and highlight in here, I just go ahead and use that for the rest of my face too. I find this is a really nice buildable bronzer / contour. It's matte, so you could use it as a full-on contour shade, but I kind of just use it for both, kind of a quick bronzer all over the face, and it really suits my skin tone well for that. It's actually what I'm using today as my kind of bronzy contour, and the highlight is just so beautiful. So together, this palette and the concealer have been real winners for me this month. And then for blush, another new purchase, I got the Juvia's Place, the Saharan Blush Palette Volume 2. And this has been a go-to because it has such a wide variety of shades and finishes. You not only have, the beautiful deep plum, a hot coral, a light corally pink, and as well as like a little bit of a contour shade here for my skin tone. You also have these shimmery blushes, one that's like kind of a highlighter on my skin, and then Sola, which is all I'm wearing today for blush. Oftentimes I will mix a lot of these together, but for today, because I hadn't done my eyes yet, I just plopped my brush right into that shade Sola and actually went a little too heavy. I forgot how pigmented it was. Don't know what I was thinking. I just smacked my brush right in there and went straight onto my face, knowing full well these are really pigmented, and yet I have to tap my brush off or like blend it on my arm or the back of my hand to kind of get some of that pigment off, because It was a lot. Nothing that can't be fixed with your foundation brush, but fair warning, these are really pigmented, and like I said, because of the mixture of shades and textures, it's just an easy one to reach for no matter what kind of look I have going on for the day. Next up is the eyes. I talked about a lot of new eyeshadow palettes this month, and I'll link to those videos down below if you want to give them a watch. I love all of them. There's not one that I wouldn't recommend, but the one that I kept coming back to was the Pat McGrath Sublime Rose palette. This is the cooler, more subdued version of the two. There's the Divine Rose 1 and the 2. The 2, I can go ahead and unwrap it for you here, has significantly bolder colors in here, as well as a quad chrome that I absolutely love. And to be totally honest, when I bought these two in the set that Pat kind of bundled together on her website, and when I got them, I thought that 2 was going to be my favorite between the two. That 1, while beautiful, wouldn't stand out because it didn't have a standout shade like that quad chrome in the second version. But this has actually been the one that I've been reaching for, and what I couldn't appreciate in the pictures and even the swatches online is that the textured shadows in this palette, it's so hard to convey the complexity of those online or just on a screen, because in real life, they make this palette so much more interesting than I initially thought it was. So kind of a surprise to me. Not that I don't love both of these palettes, but between the two, this is not the one that I thought was going to be my favorite, and every time I'm wanting to go back to kind of a comfort zone palette this month, this has been the one. Next, let's talk about lips, and while we're talking about comfort zones, this has been my go-to, the Revlon Melting Glass Lip Shine, specifically in the shade Glossed Up Rose, and I also have the one that I threw in my purse is the clear one. I forget what it's called. It's like crystal something or other, but there's no pigment to it. It's just like a high shine balmy gloss that's so easy to apply, hence why it's in my purse. But this is the one that kind of no matter what look I go with, it's a Your Lips But Better shade for me, in that it's a soft mauvey pink, adds a hint of tint, well, probably more than a hint of tint to your lips, but just enough to make your look feel polished, but not enough to overwhelm the eye looks that I've tended to wear with all of the palettes that I've used. I worked with a lot of colorful palettes this month that I've really liked, but something I can sometimes struggle with is finding the lip that balances that out, and sometimes you want to break away from the nude lip, you know? And so this is like my new nude sort of shade that it's so easy to reach for every time. But I do have a nude, because who doesn't have a nude? And like the one that I'm wearing right now. These are the new ones from Natasha Denona. These are the first lip glosses I've ever tried from her, and they are part of the bronze collection. The shade that I'm wearing today is Tan Nude, and then the other one that I really, really love is the shade Caramel. And the texture of these, I talked about them in the review that I actually uploaded just before this, if you want to go check it out. But bottom line is, it's a beautiful gloss texture. It's not sticky. They stay in place, even though they are pretty pigmented. The pigment doesn't wander in like your fine lines. It doesn't migrate across your lips or clump up or wear unevenly. It's just a really easy, comfortable formula to wear, and in these shades, you can wear them with everything. So I have been since I've gotten them. And last up, let's talk lashes. I actually don't have a favorite mascara this month. I've probably worn mascara for like 5, maybe a week max in this whole month. The rest of the month I have been wearing these lashes from Moitié Cosmetics. They are another kind of semi-permanent or long-term false lash that I just recently reviewed if you want more details, but the bottom line is they are strips of false lashes that are cut up into sections. They have a special glue, which, come to find out after that video, is almost identical, if not the exact same formula that they use in professional salon grade extensions. So it's that glue that they use, in case you're familiar with it. I've never had lash extensions, but just an FYI, if you want a means of comparison and you have had those, that's the kind of glue that they use, and you dip the individual sections in that glue and you set them on top of your lashes. Once that dries, these do not go anywhere for 10 days. They are called 10-day lashes. And boy, do they live up to that expectation, and then some, actually. Quick tip, if you don't go watch that video, but one of my major learnings here is that you absolutely have to get the remover with these lashes. Otherwise, you don't want to know what it looks like when you try to get them off. That's how long they last. But as a result, that's what I've been wearing on my lashes this month, and I have been loving it, because it's, you wake up in the morning and you just have these naturally fabulous lashes. You don't have to do your mascara in your makeup routine Does anyone have a least favorite part of the makeup routine? Because for me, it is mascara. It's so boring. It takes so long to get your lashes in just the right place, wait for it to dry. You inevitably sneeze. What is that? And so this just helps you bypass that for as many days as you possibly can in your makeup routine, and your lashes look fabulous the whole way through. So this is from their refill set, where you not only get 3 sets of lashes, but the remover and the glue. That's the set that I recommend you pick up if you want to try these, because you get the remover. This is the most natural style they have, and then which I really liked when I first tried them, but I kind of wanted to see what a little bit more drama was like, and I'm really glad I did, because I actually prefer the next level up. You can actually see I have my used lashes up here from when I last removed them, and then 2 pristine sets. And I'll hold these up to the camera so you can see the state of them after you've put the remover on them. You can reuse these, I mean, as long as they hold up for. The lash band is thick enough and substantial enough to where when you remove them, you can do just what I did, put them back into this case and reuse them the next time around. So each set, you can easily get multiple wears out of. But this is my favorite style from them, although honestly, one of you guys asked in the comment section of that video if you could use other glosses, and I don't see any other reason why you couldn't. I mean, you chop up your own lashes, get your own lashes that are already cut up. I really don't see any reason why whatever lash and lash style you want to use wouldn't also go with this glue. So those are the lashes, and now last up, hair. Hair extensions. I have been a long-time hair extension wearer. If you are unfamiliar, I, for years, had worn Vemour tape-in extensions. I have a couple videos of those if you're curious. But more recently, I got hand-sewn extensions from a brand called Babe Extensions. My stylist learned how to do that. First, he was doing tape-ins from Vemour, but then he learned this new technique, and I love it. They are so natural-looking. You can get a lot more hair in your head while keeping it looking more natural throughout the time of the outgrowth. So amazing. However, given the state of the world, I ended up cutting them out myself, or removing them myself. The extensions are still like fully intact and ready to go for the next time I get them put in, but because it's such a long appointment time, it's like between 2 and 3 hours to get these installed, I'm not quite ready for a salon trip that long just yet, and so I have been going without. It's why you've seen my hair up in like clips and ponytails and things like that recently. Very rarely would I wear it down, and I was kind of bummed out by that. So I was looking online for a solution, and I have done clip-ins in the past, like before I ever had sort of semi-permanent extensions in my hair, would do Bellamy clip-ins. They have a great shade range and like no complaints about, well, I do. No complaints about them except for the fact that I don't want to have to clip in and like style my hair around 3, 4, 5 different clips throughout my head every time I want to put them in. So I had remembered seeing something called a halo, and I was looking around for like these hair halos, and I finally found one from a brand called Zala, and I got a 12-inch hair halo in the shade Chestnut, and anytime I've been wearing my hair down like this, this is what's been making it look so thick. So I wanted to wait till the end of the video to show this so you kind of see the impact. It looks like it's a pretty good match. It's actually a little bit deeper than my natural hair color, and so I use my Drybar Tinted Dry Shampoo to deepen up my roots and kind of brush that down the rest of my hair to make it sort of a perfect match, but check this out. So to show you how this works, basically a halo is an ultra thick, at least this one from Zala is, a really ultra thick weft of hair that sits on 2 clips, as well as a transparent halo like string. I don't know what the string is made out of, but it's super thin, and you can see it sat pretty undetectable in, through this part in my head, and look at how much volume that adds to my hair. I mean, you can see exactly how fine my hair is without this thing. And this is what it looks like. These are the 2 clips. They just kind of sit in this back portion of your head. The halo sits here. You brush your hair over it, or there's a way that I've learned how to put it in the way I like and the way they recommend, but essentially it just kind of sits like this in your head, and it adds so much extra body and fullness to your hair, which I love. It's real human hair, so you can style it like your own. Like, you can straighten it, you can curl it, do every which way, although I haven't done that yet because it came in just really beautiful condition, in like this nice natural condition. So I've just been kind of brushing my hair, which is naturally stick straight, brushing my hair in with it, and I've been loving how it looks. So Yeah, I've really been liking that for how easy it has been to put in. I'm definitely eager to get my extensions once I can get back in a salon, but in the meantime, this has been a really nice and fast and easy solution where you don't have to kind of put multiple different wefts in your hair. You can get similar fullness and similar ability to style your hair like it's your own natural hair, but with 2 clips, and you just go, boom, you're done. I love it. So guys, those are my favorites. I feel like naked without my hair now, but as usual, I would love to hear what your favorites have been through the month of June. Let us know down in the comments below, and thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your support here on the channel, so thank you so much for that, and I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. Bye guys!